I want to do a quick video and tell you guys a couple things and signs as well as solutions regarding what to do if you feel that you're being set up to fail at your job. And this is not an uncommon issue at work. I recently wrote a blog post about it. I will link it to the description of this video, but I just want to say a couple words about it. Because above all, this is the Anti-HR channel. So we talk about HR issues here. We talk about things that employees need to know to protect their workplace rights, especially now in this environment. An educated employee is the best employee. And an educated employee is a type of employee that employers hate. So be the kind of employee that employers hate. Knowledge is power. Know your rights. Understand your workplace. So a lot of times you may feel like you're being undermined at work and that you're being set up to fail, but you're not sure. I want to share a couple signs, and then I'm going to tell you what you need to do if you observe any of these kinds of things happening in your workplace. So the first thing that you might notice is that you're being given constant and ever-changing expectations and responsibilities. Like one day they tell you to do something, then the next day they change it on you. Then the day after that, they say that's not what I told you to do, and they change it again. And then they say you're not doing your job, but they're constantly moving the goalposts, and you feel like you're having whiplash from all the different changes and objectives. That's a sign of incompetence, but don't always think it's incompetence. Sometimes it's because they're trying to undermine you. They're trying to set you up to fail. So when people are, giving you unreasonable goals, constantly changing the goalposts, changing the expectations, one day it's one thing and next day it's another thing, that's a sign that in fact your boss may be trying to set you up to fail. 2, you're denied access to tools and information that you need to do your work, right? So, and it might also be people. So you might come into a job and people tell you need to get access to this system, or you need access to this kind of tool to do this job, and then they never give it to you. Or they tell you, go talk to so-and-so, right? And they'll help you, but that person is never, ever available. That's another sign that you're being set up to fail. Number 3, you're being overly micromanaged and scrutinized, and it wasn't happening before, right? That's another sign. If you were, being given free rein to do your work, they weren't over your shoulder all the time, then all of a sudden they want to talk to you all the time. They want details. They ask you to write up reports about things that you were doing that you were never asked to do before. It's because they're trying to set you up to fail, and they're possibly trying to find grounds to write you up in order to say that you're failing and not doing your job. And the last one I'm going to share, and there are others in the blog post, which I'll link so you can go read it. But the last one I want to mention is the segue to what I just said. You get written up, lots of negative write-ups, lots of negative, all of a sudden out of the blue, lots of negative feedback that culminates in a write-up. You're being set up to fail, okay? So when these things are happening, when you observe these things happening, if the first one I mentioned, the second one happens, understand that something is going on and don't ignore it, right? Again, y'all will get tired of me saying this. What is the number one thing you should be doing to counteract this stuff? Documentation. If you've been documenting your work environment from the very first day, it'll be very easy for you to counter claims that you're not doing your job well, right? If you have been documenting all along what you are doing and how you are doing it and your interactions with your manager. But from the first time someone says negative things about you, I always say, never let anyone say anything about you that is not true. So if someone says that you didn't do something and you know you did it, make sure you respond verbally and in writing, showing that it is not true and that in fact you did do the thing that they're claiming you didn't do, and that you document it as well. There's a documentation journal that you can grab. It'll be linked to this video. Please document your workplace. That is the number one thing that employees can do to protect themselves at work that most do not do. And if they do it, they don't do it well. My journal tells you not just what to do, but how to do it well. Make sure you are documenting your workplace. And definitely, if you feel you're being set up and you haven't been documenting, get to documenting right away. The next thing that you need to be doing is making sure from the first day that you're employed that you're clarifying expectations, again, verbally and in writing. You should be meeting with your manager regularly. You should be asking questions. So if they start moving the goalposts, you get to say, wait a minute, last week you told me this was the goal. Today you're saying something else. I want to clarify that you are now asking me to change from this to this. And you say it verbally and you put it in writing. Always clarify the goals and expectations so that you, again, can document every time they changed it, every time they switched around, right? So you have to make sure that you're very clear on what the goals and responsibilities of your job is from the first day. And when people try to change it up, that you're carefully documenting and raising it, asking questions about it. Don't just let it happen and say nothing. Make sure you are raising and writing and verbally. So I always tell people, have a verbal conversation, but follow it up with something in writing where you say, when I initially took this job, this is what I was told I'd be doing. When we met last week, you said I would be doing this, but now you've sent me an email and said you want me to do this. I want to clarify that you no longer want me to do this over here. You now want me to do this, right? It's very important to do that. One other thing that I'm going to mention, and again, I'm encouraging you to go to my website and read the full blog because I give more comprehensive information on this topic in the blog, is always record your wins at work. Everything that you accomplish for a company, you should document. Don't expect your employer to do that. You should do it. So if you did something to save the company money, if you did something to bring in new business, right, you should be tracking those things so that you can bring them up. When people try to say you're not doing your job and you haven't done anything, you can actually show that you have done a lot of things for the company. Always track your wins. Always keep track of the things that you are doing and accomplishing for your job, so that when people try to discredit you and set you up to fail, you can pull those things out of your back pocket, right? Also, if you believe that what is happening to you is happening because of a protected characteristic, because you're Black, because you're a woman, because you're over the age of 40 and they are trying to push you out because of your age, because you have a disability and ask for accommodations, carefully track why you believe that true. What is the differential treatment that you're observing, that you're seeing? Why is your boss trying to set you up to fail is what you also want to get at and document. Because if you can prove that what they're doing for discriminatory purposes, you may also be able to ask them to pay you to leave that job. Okay? So make sure you understand your workplace rights and how they operate. Grab my roadmap to understanding your workplace rights. Make sure an educated employee that knows what the laws, the federal laws are, that protect you in the workplace, so that you can raise your hand and say, you're violating my rights. I don't feel safe in this work environment. I think you should cut me a check, right? So make sure that you know what your workplace rights are so that you can document if you believe they're being violated, and if you feel that you're being treated differently, that your employer is trying to push you out, not just because they don't like you, they're setting you up to fail, not just because they don't like you, but because you have a protected characteristic. That's a very important thing to understand, is not to just observe, this person's doing stuff that is obviously trying to make me look bad, but why are they doing it, okay? Make sure that you are always asking yourself that question and then looking at documenting reasons that might support whether or not they're doing this for purposes that they're not allowed to do in terms of discrimination, okay? That's very, very important. If you are not sure, please book a discovery call with me. My discovery call calendar will reopen on June 30th. You can go to my website and click on the link and book a discovery call if you want to clarify any of these things. I do hope that this video is helpful. If you found it helpful, please hit the subscribe button. Please like, comment, but comment constructively. As always, I'm Anne Marie. HR is not your enemy, but it's definitely not your friend, but I am. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.